Okay, you know what we need to talk about today, don't you, son?
What do we need to talk about today?
Today we'll have our special chicken segment. What are you laughing for? It's the
I
chickens,
don't know,
man.
but I cannot foresee where this is going.
Well, I was just noticing, son, that as I was walking in this afternoon from putting the handle on my knife, that there was an odor in the air.
No, I need to clean out the chicken coops.
I think this week they probably need.
They probably need to be put out.
But you know, hey, they chicken's gonna poop. Coop needs to get clean.
Poop needs to get clean.
They lay them eggs. How many eggs we been getting here lately?
Three.
Three eggs. So what do you think the issue is with our girls?
I'm really not sure. It may just be way too hot for much of anything. I think it's
too hot,
just
too dry.
Too hot, too dry.
I think they're on a every other day schedule, which is kind of surprising.
It's a little weird.
What about the older girls? So
the older girls.
For those of you at home, we have 2 flocks of chickens.
Also, real quick, welcome to the Roost. This is the podcast.
Welcome to the Roost. We're going to clean it out here soon.
He is my father, and I am his son.
That's right.
And that's all you need to know.
It's dad and boy.
The internet people will find us, and we don't want that.
Nope.
No.
Because they're strange.
Because they're strange. You're strange.
I am very strange. So we have the older chickens, which are the ones that essentially we got for free from people that are really old. They're probably 7 years old now.
Yeah.
And we just let them run free. Fox eats them. Oh, well. They get to do whatever they want to do. And then we have the younger girls who are now 2 years old. Are they 2 years old?
No. I think we only got them mid-2020.
Okay. So they've only been laying for a year.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have 6 of those, a rooster and 5 girls. And when they go broody, though, these chickens, I don't know what they are.
Move. The little chickens, they do not move.
They will not. They get real aggressive
for days on end. And when I have to go out and put them up at night, I'll go out there and I have to get like a stick or something to poke them out of the way to lift them up. See if there's any eggs. Is that your little
fork stick that's laying down there? Because I picked it up and I was just like pushing her off and grabbing the egg. I feel bad about that. It's like she sat on that egg all day. Well, no food, no water.
Well, I mean, that's her problem though.
It is, but it's her programming. Like she can't help it.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Right, she just can't help it. But then we take the egg
take the egg and eat it because they're tasty.
But we have been thinking about letting them hatch.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it's a good idea. We just have to kind of come up with a plan.
Or no, the cat's being annoying.
Well, that's what I got today, son. I was just going to do a little chicken talk. Do we have names for any of them? We don't really have names.
We had names for the first few, and then it was like chicken, or no, it was Tender, it was Nugget, it was and Alfreda, and then the other one that died.
That's right. Yeah, and then the one Fox got.
I don't remember what its name was.
That was that little juvenile fox we saw, right?
Yeah.
Remember that little? And remember we saw it at the pond again. You and I were driving out.
Yeah.
And it just looked confused. I think that's the one. There was a den out next to the road. She got hit, though. The mother did.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh well. So, what topics do you have today, Sonny Boy? School's just started, right?
School has just started, yeah. School's going well.
Okay, super. Tell me a little bit about
school. School is not really doing a good job of setting up our assignments and getting everything well, because we have 2 softwares that we use. We have one called Schoology and one called Odysseyware. And I use Odysseyware for science, and I use the Schoology for the rest. And they have not set anything up in Odysseyware yet. Nothing.
Absolutely
and at this
nothing.
point, it's been almost 2 weeks, and there is nothing.
Well, you know what, son?
They're not really doing a good job of that.
So which classes are those?
Science is science, or I'm doing earth science this year.
Earth science.
And planetary stuff, because I like that kind of stuff.
Planets.
But don't hit my monitor.
Okay, what's your opinion of Pluto? Planet or not?
I think it should be called planet.
I think so too. So what's your?
I mean, if you like, it's about the size of. It's a little bit small. Isn't it like a little bit smaller than the moon?
Actually, I think it's about Mercury size, if I'm not mistaken. Mercury's a small planet right next to the sun, right?
Right. So I mean, if it's bigger than the moon or most of like any of Jupiter's moons, then I think it should be considered a planet.
Well, I mean, it does orbit the sun.
It does orbit the sun.
Big enough.
And
we grew up with. I mean, in my day when I was growing up, Pluto's a planet. I mean, that's just the bottom line.
And I really don't know why it shouldn't be referred to as a planet.
Yeah, I don't know how you
Planet
vote
Lives
a planet
Matter.
out. Right, Planet Lives.
Planet Lives Matter.
You know, you don't just
Start
get
a
to vote
protest.
them out.
Yeah,
Poor
you don't
lonely
get to-
little ball of ice out there, just kind of slinging around.
I mean, it's the
What to do.
last one. You're just gonna throw out the last planet in our solar system.
Yeah,
It's not fun.
it isn't. I mean, I really, honestly,
I
just
feel bad for the planet.
I feel
you know?
bad. Yeah. Okay. Podcast. What kind of podcast do you listen to here lately, son? What's your favorites?
There's
Like if,
one.
If you when you jump online, what do you? Give me your go-to.
My
right off the
go-to
bat.
is one called Business Wars by
podcast.
Podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry. YouTube channel. Give me a YouTube channel,
Oh, YouTube
Well,
channel. Okay.
and then we'll talk about podcast.
Then we'll talk about podcast.
Mhm.
YouTube channel. Right now,
What's
there's
the go-to?
there's a channel called Summoning Saul, and he does a lot. He does basically documentaries.
Summoning Salt.
Summoning Salt. He does documentaries on the progression, and what like tricks have been discovered in different games and speedrunning.
Oh, it's a gaming channel.
It's documentary. I'd say much more of a documentary than anything else because he doesn't
docudrama, or
he doesn't play the video games himself. He just goes back through like 20 years ago, and will
like back in
like-
my day.
like back in your day, like when
Like-
he did one on Super Mario, like
Super
the
Mario, okay.
original
Yeah,
Mario
yeah.
in like the 80s.
Mhm.
And since that had started been speedrunning and recorded times, he went through and like discussed all the tricks that have been going on in a documentary style. It's something about it that I enjoy watching.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
But yeah,
Um,
what's your go-to channel right now?
my go-to channel right now, like the one that I really like.
Yeah,
You know what it is, son. You know what I'm gonna say.
Catfish Dave.
Catfish
Dave.
Listen, man, there is something about
Catfish Dave.
Catfish
man.
Dave that
When did you find out about Catfish Dave?
You know, one day on my feed there came this video, and it was like, I think the very first one I watched was something called "I Don't Need No Boat to Catch a Catfish," and I was like, I got to look at this, and I'm watching this guy, and I'm looking at the background, and I'm like, that's Knoxville, that's the skyline of Knoxville,
Yeah.
and he's like, yeah, we're down here on the Clinch River, or Tennessee
River,
River. You know, I should know. Oh, it's the Holston. I think it's the Holston River that
Holston,
runs by. Either way, runs right by campus. He was right next to campus in a really sketchy area, and he said, this is a sketchy area. He's like, but I catch big catfish. He was pulling them out right and left.
Right
and
and
then,
left.
I don't know, there's just something about him, because he fishes
I
all the lakes that I used to fish.
I don't find that kind of stuff as entertaining. Like you find him really entertaining.
He's hilarious.
I'll be in here and you'll be in the living room and you'll just be laughing your head off
Because he's hilarious.
about Catfish Dave.
Because he gave these catfish catching tips one day. 5 tips for catching catfish. Tip number 1, find some water. He was like, in Tennessee, if you got water, you got catfish.
You got catfish.
He said tip number 2. You know what tip number 2 was?
What was it?
You got to have bait.
Gotta have bait.
If you just got a hook. Matter of fact, he threw a rod out with just a hook, and then he threw a rod out with bait. The rod with the hook didn't catch nothing.
Mhm.
The bait's what got it.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty much his tips.
Those are
he's
good tips.
Oh, yeah, Catfish Dave. So, you know, my second one that I really like to watch is the Smarter Every Day.
Smarter
you,
Every
you
Day
and
is
I
a good
like
one,
that
yeah.
one. Have you seen the one on the Holly carburetors?
I have not seen that one yet. That one came out today. I think,
Today.
as
yeah.
of this recording.
So, he actually went to the Holly carburetor factory, I think in Bowling Green,
Yeah.
and walked down the line, talked to all the people. I mean, they were making these big old 4-barrel jobs. It's like a true, not small engine carburetor is a thing to behold. It's essentially an analog computer if you just think of it that way.
Yeah.
Because it's got to figure out when you're really wanting to get it to gas and when you're at idle. I mean, it's got to sort of solve that problem by using pressure and flow and this and that. And these carbs were a work of art, shall we say.
Mm-hmm.
I like carburetors.
I like Smarter Every Day. He's cool.
We're not going to publish this one anyway. This is our test podcast.
No, we might. This is good
You think
so
so?
far. This is
Okay,
good
well,
so far.
tell me some, like your podcast. Let's go back to podcast. You like Business Wars,
Business Wars. It's a podcast by Wondery.
and what else? What else you got?
I really only listen to Business Wars. Really, that's
that's
about
true.
all I listen to. That's a
Um,
shame. Yeah, why?
I don't know. I liked Business Wars, but for some reason I no longer subscribe to it. Let me read you some of mine here. Got the old phone out, the old Samsung.
Old Samsung.
Yeah, it's an old one. Essential Craftsman podcast, EC. It's a good one. It's a really good one. This guy interviews people from. Am I doing this right? Or
No,
am I?
you're good.
Okay. This guy interviews people from the building trades. I listen to something called It Still Lives,
Mhm.
which is the
Oh, that's the one.
from
what was
the
it?
thing. If I can remember.
I know what you're talking about.
Hold on, my app just crashed on
the
the
app
old
just
Samsung
crashed,
here.
okay.
No, it's the Foxfire Museum.
Foxfire, yeah, that's right.
Remember
that's
that?
right.
So that was kind of cool. Remember we saw the blacksmith guy.
Yeah.
Who's real skinny and has kid with him. So Deer University is a really good one. These two guys, they're professors at Mississippi State.
Right.
There is an MSU deer lab there, and they study deer, so that's what they do, and it's really cool. So I listened to all of Dan Carlin's stuff.
Oh, Dan Carlin's good.
Dan Carlin, have you listened?
I have listened to a little
Danny
bit of Dan
D?
Carlin. He's a
So
good
what
friend
do
of
you
yours.
listen to? The hardcore history, or do you listen to Common
I
Sense?
listened
or-
to the Nazi War Machine.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah.
was a good
That's
one.
quality.
That was a good one.
So, and the other one I listened to, which I've listened to, which is my shower podcast, is Dale Jr. Download. So he interviews old race car drivers from back in the day.
Mm.
So Dale Jr., of course, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is
Yeah.
Earnhardt's son.
Yeah.
And he interviews these guys from way back in the day. Like he's interviewing this guy named Dale Inman right now,
Yeah.
who was Richard Petty's crew chief,
Uh-huh.
who grew up with Richard Petty. They used to race bikes down the hill and build like these little rope steer race cars. I like
Okay,
that
that's
one. So there's a lot of people who are really not good interviewers.
Yeah.
Like Dan Carlin is great monologuing. When he tries to interview somebody, it's rough because he wants to monologue and then ask a question at the end, and they're just sitting there going, So,
we
but
ought to see if we can get smarter every day here. Ask him. a few
well,
things.
we got to get like 10 subscribers first. I'm
At
sure.
least 10. So make sure that you go down to that. I'm kidding.
Maybe we could have a segment called "Not Smarter Every Day."
Yeah, that's us.
Not smarter every day.
We could.
Today I learned,
Don't lick a battery.
yeah, if you stick your tongue on both of the contacts, you get a tingly feeling, and your mouth goes numb. Yeah, those are the ones I listen to. I like them. I used to listen to a lot more when I had to drive back and forth to work, but because
Don't
of the
listen to
because of the Rona, I hadn't
the
had
purge.
to. Yeah,
the rapture.
the COVID, I haven't had to. So so we've had COVID, son. What was your experience with COVID?
I am lucky to have an immune system that's decent, so I had it for 2 days.
Well,
but
and
those 2
you're young.
days were agony.
Yeah.
It was agony.
Well, I had it.
You're sitting there like I think the experience I had with it was that I sat there and I was dizzy every time I got up. I couldn't see straight whenever I got up. Everything got blurry. I had
And
a
your-
really high fever.
Yeah, your
and
fever
just-
hit 103 and a
yeah,
half,
103 and a half.
which
It
is
wasn't great.
warm. Mine never got above 102, but I had a fever for 3 days. I laid there, and you know what was the worst thing for me? The worst thing for me about COVID was I couldn't sleep. Like I literally probably didn't sleep for 4 days. My body would not go to sleep.
I would be
Just
able to
wouldn't happen.
sleep a lot because I was in bed a lot because I would sleep during the day and then I couldn't go to sleep at night.
I could not sleep during the day. I could not sleep at night. And I could get comfortable. I would lay there and I would just try my little, how do I get myself to go to sleep tricks? And zero, zilch, nada, nothing worked. If anyone invites you to a doorknob licking contest, yeah, just decline.
Don't be like me when I was a kid and lick a rail.
Lick the railing.
Lick the railing.
At the thing that we went to.
aquarium.
Oh, what? The thing
We went to the aquarium in like Georgia. This was
No.
in
It's Chattanooga.
Chattanooga.
Mhm.
We don't live in Chattanooga.
We don't, but we could.
We could move there.
Possible. We could live in Georgia too. It's possible.
Throw everything in the back of the truck.
So okay, so you have this tick puller here, son. Have you ever had to? Have you ever had to pull a tick with your tick puller?
No.
So describe the tick puller. The tick puller, strangely enough, has a ruler on it.
I
And-
don't,
and-
I don't
and here's-
know why.
Here's the weird thing about the tick puller ruler to
What?
me, because I got one of these, except mine's orange. The tick puller ruler goes to 1 inch. Look at
I
that.
guess if you want to measure how big
Like-
the ticks are,
If you got a 1 inch tick on you, you got
well, it goes
worse
up
problems.
to 2 centimeters.
Well, that's 1 inch.
I mean, if you have a tick that's an inch
You've
on
got
your arm, then I think you might have more problems than
Yeah,
you
you've
might
got
have wanted.
worse problems than that. I mean, that is just like, for example, a 1 inch tick. You're not going to get the tick puller down over it.
I don't know.
I don't know what the deal is. What? There's no warning on here that
it's
there's
just
a size
like
limit.
something that if it's that big, be worried.
Yeah, I mean, they should have like
Go to a hospital.
like colors here. Like you could have like a green region. It's like a little
Or like
tick,
describe like
yellow.
what ticks there or what type of ticks there are.
and then there's like nuclear, like a 1 inch size tick.
It's just like just pull it off. It's okay. Go to the hospital.
Yeah, go to the hospital. Make sure you have a will. You know, it's like, and on the back here, you know, it's just blank. This would have been a perfect opportunity to put down some like tick identification
information.
stuff. Yeah, just
Or like some fun
basic
facts.
Fun facts about ticks.
You have like a little fun fact segment. I can make a little
It's
transition.
time for fun fact. I noticed there's a blue ribbon
All right,
on
we
your
need
wall.
better topics than me winning the science fair in third
Do you
grade.
remember? Okay, do you remember what the experiment was?
It was building
Was it
better
third
bubbles.
grade?
Yeah, it was 2015.
2015. Yeah, that's like 6 years ago. So you were 10. Yeah, it's about third grade.
It's about third grade. Yeah.
Yeah. So your science project was
No, I think it was it was third
What?
grade. Yeah.
tick measuring.
It was
that
on
one?
my birthday too.
Building better bubbles. So, where was on your birthday?
I won on my birthday.
Do you remember what we performed? Do you remember? this
It
one?
was like we had different like solutions. We had oil and water, which didn't work because oil and water don't mix. We had different types of just liquid in soap to see if it would mix together and make a better bubble.
right. So
And I don't remember which one won.
So remember that what we did was we mixed up an initial batch of just water, plain distilled water, with dish soap, and that was our base. And we
Yeah.
poured that into like 5 different little containers. To each container, we added different things like salt, vinegar,
That's right.
glycerin.
I think the glycerin was the one that worked the best.
I think so too. And then there was one other thing that we did. I can't remember.
It was
what
oil.
Was it oil?
I
Okay.
remember it was oil.
And remember, we blew bubbles. We blew bubbles to a certain size,
And would time it.
and we would start the timer to see how long those bubbles.
And I
blew.
remember when I was doing the little speech to the
the people.
the headmaster, the science teacher, all the other people that were there.
Mm.
As soon as I got
Pope-
done with my
Pope was
talk,
there.
huh?
The Pope was there too. Right?
Pope was there,
Pope
yeah.
came.
President,
President, yeah.
Secret Service.
Yeah, they
Uh,
were there too. I mean, it was.
So
big
I remember that as soon as I got done with the little speech, the bubble popped,
deal.
and so I was like, "That's how long the bubble was." That's cool, huh? Give me the ribbon.
Give me the ribbon now. And I mean, Obama came over, gave the ribbon. It was great.
Yeah, it was cool.
wonderful. Okay,
Yeah,
so that's your
our
first
headmaster Obama.
question. We really need a better topic here. Okay, let's talk about why the string on your bass is broken. Were you in here just hammering away on it? I mean,
don't-
that's the biggest string.
I
The
don't
thing's like-
know.
look,
see,
here,
the thing is though, look
measure
at
it with
it.
the
Look
tick
at it.
puller.
Okay, so
Look, measure it with the tick puller ruler. Really. I'm kidding. All right. So what happened?
so
Tell me.
if you'll see, nobody else can see this, but that little red part right there.
He's pointing
So-
at the red part.
I'm pointing at the red part on the tuner knob. See how this is it's just a string.
Oh, there's
it's
more
not.
red part.
You see, the rest of them are.
They're
I can-
metal. So that's a no. Don't do that. Don't do that.
But the rest of
there's
them
a-
are metal. But this one has a little
Like a
little
fiber
piece
core?
of fabric.
Oh, fabric core, huh? Is the whole core fabric?
No, the
Just the
cord
end.
up to there is fabric. It's supposed to stretch a little bit.
He's pointing to there.
I'm pointing to the. You
He's
can
pointing
see
on
it.
the red
See, look, if you
end.
look right here, you can
Yeah.
see that. I mean,
Hold your
here.
phone close. He's tapping
hear
into the
that?
microphone. Okay, I think we get the picture. And then you tightened it, and did it just break
It
one
just
night?
broke.
Like you were asleep
I was
and
sitting.
It just
I was
snapped?
sitting here, and
just bang.
and it broke,
Wow,
and I don't remember how.
that's impressive. All right, what else we got to talk about, son? You pick a topic.
What are
at
your
this point.
opinions on the? So Richard Branson made his first trip to space on the Virgin Galactic plane. What are your thoughts of the? Because I know you have
okay.
strong thoughts about like NASA and
Yeah,
the
I
people
do.
using taxpayers' dollars, but this is like a private company and they're using
Agreed,
the funds
agreed.
from like Amazon and all that. But what are your thoughts of commercial spaceflight?
I think commercial space flight is interesting. I guess here's where I'm at with this, son. I don't know that you can say with a straight face that you've been to space. This is just my opinion. When you go like if
I mean, you're going
hold
to
on,
low Earth
hold
orbit.
On, hold on. If you just like if space starts here, I'm marking in the sky,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go like slightly above it and then back down. I don't know that you really went into space. You know what I mean? I mean, I
Not
understand
really.
that you passed a certain threshold and you can claim.
I mean, they're at the
spaceflight
point where
technically.
they are in zero gravity. They're going into low Earth orbit, so they actually orbit for about 15 minutes, and then they come back down.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess that's where I'm at. It's like saying barely reaching a particular goal and then claiming some kind of, I don't know. I mean, it's okay. Let's be clear. It's a technical accomplishment. It is absolutely something that's not easy to do.
That you have a reusable rocket that you
Dude,
can take
yeah.
people into space with.
But to me, when you say go into space, I grew up in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
That means we went
He's
to
old.
the moon and orbited the moon and came back. So
Well, that's more like space travel.
true, but if you've been, I guess by definition, if you go into space, you have undergone space travel.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like saying going to the space station.
True.
Like the space station, I mean, is that technically going into space? I'm not trying to rag on
Oh,
your
no,
definition here, but I mean,
no.
is at that point what
All I'm
what
saying
is going into space?
All I'm
and what
saying
is
is I'm
what's the
not
barrier
sure.
there?
I'm just not sure that I would claim a great and grand victory if I just sort of tipped my finger into space. It's like okay, like that. It's like saying I went into the lake when all I did is really run down to the edge of the lake and dip my finger in. You know, you did technically, right? You didn't get
Yeah.
eaten by crocodiles, but
Yeah.
but it's. I mean, I just kind of feel like if you really want to make the claim and you really want to take people into space, you got to get them out there about kind of moonish distance.
I think that's what Elon Musk is trying to do with the whole Starship
Yeah.
program.
I mean, I understand baby steps, right? Baby steps. We got to get.
They're working on it.
You got to get your finger in the water and not eaten by the crocodile, and then you can go a little deeper.
Mm.
So
But you gotta keep going deeper until you can get in the water.
so you can swim around and then come back. I understand. Now let's be clear: there are no space crocodiles, so I understand that. But
I wish there were. That would be terrifying.
there are a lot of dangers in space. Especially we've got just so much junk orbiting the Earth right now. It's really it's not awesome. So
But whenever I learned about the whole everything floating, all the junk in space, like it's weird that none of it has hit like the space station and like damaged it.
depending upon the direction you go and how you enter into space, that stuff's going really fast.
Have you seen the image of like the satellites in space? Like how many satellites there actually are? Move your phone.
Yes, I have.
It's crazy. Oh, okay.
There are what, like 6,000 objects?
I mean, if you just look at the image of the round sphere covered in little white dots everywhere, it's just crazy, how much stuff there is.
Crazy. Okay.
All right,
Excellent.
all that's all out of the way. Back to the pot we were talking about. Some cool stuff.
All right.
We're cool dudes.
What else we got? Hey, how's the collection coming along?
Thank you for listening. If we put this up, if not, then that's too bad. Thank you for listening.
This will be our test.
It'll be the test
I guess.
podcast. We
All
can't
right.
say. I can't put in any of what we just said.
Yep.
Don't think too much on that.
Well, and we'll say goodbye for now from the Roost, where the shavings are clean and the tips are small.